devastation and hopefully healing. Family and friends of a Vancouver mother and daughter who were killed coming together to 27-year-old Meshay Melendez and 7-year-old Layla Stewart's memorial. Both were killed last month. Their suspected killer is behind bars awaiting trial. Today, K2 was invited to Meshay and Layla's memorial service.
I really miss her, and hearing her little voice, I just wish I had a lot of time with her, because there's just so much more to life.
Layla was just an incredible gift. I always will remember Layla, her incredible imagination and love for scary movies, you know? Throw it up for that Chucky. I can understand now. I didn't mess with that little dude, but she loved me. Watching her and my daughter, Jaina, play and grow up together just filled my heart. I love Meshay and Layla like no other.
She was like my God. She was my go-to. And it's really hard right now because in a moment like this, Meshay would be my rock. She would be who I would go to.
I just want her to know that we love both of them dearly, and you just watch over us.
What appeared to be two life-size mannequins discarded in the brush near Washougal, Washington, turned out to be something far more sinister. On March 22, 2023, a passerby made the grim discovery down an embankment off Southeast Sunset View Road, the bodies of 27-year-old Meshay Melendez and her innocent 7-year-old daughter, Layla Stewart. Their disappearance 10 days earlier had ended in the most tragic way imaginable. The autopsy would reveal the horrifying truth. Both victims had been executed with gunshots to the head. Little Layla had been shot twice, while her mother suffered a single gunshot wound to her left temple. But the horror didn't end there. The 7-year-old girl was found partially nude, with evidence suggesting she had been sexually assaulted before her murder. The man responsible for this unthinkable crime wasn't just any killer. He was Kirkland Warren, Meshay's ex-boyfriend, a man who was already awaiting trial for another murder in Arkansas. In 2017, Warren had allegedly shot a man named Curtis Urquhart in the head and dumped his body in a ditch. Despite this pending murder charge, Warren had been released on $250,000 bail and allowed to move to Washington State, where he would eventually meet Meshay. What makes this case even more disturbing is that just days before the murders, Warren had been arrested for shooting at Meshay's apartment and violating a restraining order. Despite being deemed an extreme risk to Meshay with a danger assessment score of 31 on a scale that only goes to 18, he was released from jail on March 8, 2023. 4 days later, Meshay and Layla disappeared. The system that was supposed to protect this mother and child failed them in the most catastrophic way. While in jail, Warren had called Meshay twice, pressuring her to drop the charges against him. "You need to figure out how to get these charges dropped," he told her. Despite these clear violations of his no-contact order, he was released without GPS monitoring. The consequences would be deadly. Have you ever wondered how someone charged with murder could be free to kill again? How many red flags need to be raised before the system takes action to protect vulnerable victims? If you find this as disturbing as I do, please share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to my channel for more stories that expose these critical failures in our justice system. In the quiet neighborhoods of Vancouver, Washington, 27-year-old Meshay Melendez was known for her infectious laugh and unwavering loyalty. Friends describe her as a confident young woman with a bright spirit who was super social, just a social butterfly. But behind her vibrant exterior was a young mother navigating life's complexities with remarkable resilience. Meshay maintained an exceptionally close relationship with her mother, Nicole Norris. The two shared regular video chat sessions that became a cherished routine. When Meshay failed to appear for their scheduled call on March 18, 2023, Nicole immediately sensed something was wrong and reported her daughter and granddaughter missing, a mother's intuition that would ultimately lead to the discovery of their bodies. To her friends, Meshay was more than just a companion. She was a rock, a voice of reason. "She was like my guide, she was my go-to," recalled one friend at her memorial service. And it's really hard right now because in a moment like this, Meshay would be my rock. She would be who I would go to. Another friend, Michaela Jeter, remembered how Meshay would temper her impulsiveness. She used to always tell me to calm down. I was the crazy friend. She used to always tell me, be calm, best friend, let it go, best friend. What made Meshay truly special was her non-judgmental nature. In a world quick to criticize, she offered acceptance and understanding. This quality drew people to her, creating a diverse social circle that would later rally to demand justice for her and Layla. As a single mother, Meshay worked tirelessly to provide for her daughter. Though specific details about her career in the beauty industry aren't extensively documented, those who knew her spoke of her professional aspirations and determination to build a better life. She balanced the demands of motherhood with her ambitions, showing remarkable strength in the face of challenges. Meshay's relationship with Layla's father, Layla Stewart, had evolved into a co-parenting arrangement. While they were no longer together romantically, they shared a commitment to raising their daughter. At Meshay and Layla's funeral, Javante expressed his devastation. Losing a child is an unimaginable tragedy, and it's hard to think of all the milestones she will never get to experience. Tragically, Meshay's life took a dark turn when she became involved with Kirkland Warren. Court records reveal a pattern of abuse that escalated dangerously. On December 13, 2022, Warren shot at Meshay's apartment balcony window while she was looking outside. 10 days later, she gathered the courage to report the incident to police despite her initial bravery. The system that should have protected her ultimately failed. By February 2023, Meshay appeared to recant her statement against Warren, claiming she had lied about the shooting. Investigators found this suspicious, noting she seemed desperate to prevent Warren's arrest. This pattern of recantation is tragically common in domestic violence cases, where victims often face intimidation and threats. What makes Meshay's story particularly heartbreaking is how close she came to escaping. The danger assessment conducted by authorities scored Warren as an extreme risk to Meshay, with a score of 31 on a scale that only goes to 18. Yet despite this alarming evaluation, the system allowed Warren to remain free. In her final days, Meshay was seen passed out and unresponsive in Warren's car, a haunting image of vulnerability that foreshadowed the violence to come. Her life, full of promise and possibility, was cut short by the very person the justice system failed to restrain. As her brother Ricardo said at her funeral, Meshay and Layla's beautiful smiles will forever remain in our hearts. In death, as in life, mother and daughter remain inseparable. 7-year-old Layla Stewart was a burst of sunshine in the lives of everyone who knew her. With her infectious smile and cutest little voice, she embodied the pure joy and innocence of childhood. Family members described her as outspoken and expressive, never missing a chance to tell you she loved you. Layla's personality was as vibrant as her favorite color, pink. At the community vigil held in her honor, hundreds wore pink clothing to celebrate the little girl whose life had been so brutally cut short. Her aunt, Lachey Gates, later expressed the profound grief of losing her niece. "I can't even make any more memories. The 7 years was all I had." As a student, Layla was well loved by her classmates and teachers. Her PE teacher was so devastated by her death that they attended the vigil, joining the community in mourning. One of Layla's schoolmates, Ellie Joseph, remembered her as a kind, sweet, friendly little girl who had many friends. The impact of her loss rippled through her school community, leaving a void that could never be filled. Layla shared a special bond with her grandmother, Nicole Norris. The two would often spend time together during Meshay's regular video chats with her mother. When both Meshay and Layla disappeared, it was Nicole who first raised the alarm, unable to reach them for their regular call. In a heartbreaking statement after their deaths, Nicole wrote, "The day I lost them, I lost a part of myself. A part of me died with my girls. I am no longer a girl mom. I am no longer a grandmother." The relationship between Layla and her mother Meshay was extraordinarily close. As Ricardo Melendez, Meshay's brother, said at their funeral, "Layla and Meshay's beautiful smiles will forever remain in our hearts. They are together always in heaven as they were together as one here on earth." Their bond was unbreakable, a testament to Meshay's devotion as a mother. Layla's imagination and interests painted the picture of a typical 7-year-old with her own unique personality. Her uncle recalled her incredible imagination and her love for scary movies. She enjoyed nature walks and playing outside, though like many children her age, she had developed a slight YouTube habit. She would often walk around the house singing, filling the home with her sweet voice. The connection between Layla and her extended family was profound. Her cousin was born just 2 weeks apart from her, creating a special bond between the children. "Layla was pretty much my niece," said Kaylee I. Randall, a close friend of Meshay's. "This has been very heartbreaking." Layla's father, Layla Stewart, expressed his anguish at her funeral. "Every day I wake up with the pain knowing my girl will never grow up." The loss of his daughter left him struggling to find a way forward, carrying grief with him every moment of life. What makes Layla's story particularly tragic is her complete innocence in the situation that led to her death. She was a child caught in circumstances beyond her control, a victim of violence directed at her mother that spilled over to claim her young life as well. The discovery that she had been sexually assaulted before being murdered added an even more horrific dimension to an already unimaginable crime. In the words of her aunt, "We will never see her grow, achieve her dreams, or the life she deserves." Layla Stewart's potential, all she might have become, all she might have contributed to the world, was stolen in an act of senseless violence, leaving behind only memories of a bright, loving child who deserved so much more than the fate that befell her. Kirkland Warren's path to becoming a double murderer began long before he met Meshay Melendez. On November 27, 2017, in Pine Bluff, Arkansas, Warren committed his first known murder, a cold-blooded killing that should have kept him behind bars for decades. Curtis Urquhart, a 57-year-old man from Pine Bluff, had the misfortune of being Warren's passenger that day. According to Warren's own recorded confession to Arkansas police, Urquhart repeatedly asked him for money. What happened next revealed Warren's chilling capacity for violence. He pulled out a .22 caliber handgun and shot Urquhart in the head. But Warren didn't stop there. After murdering Urquhart, he drove to a remote gravel road near Stuttgart, Arkansas, and dumped the body in a ditch, leaving it to be discovered later. This callous disposal earned him an additional charge of abuse of a corpse alongside the first-degree murder charge. The most disturbing aspect of this case wasn't just the murder itself, but what happened afterward. Despite confessing to the killing, Warren was released on December 13, 2017, just 1 day after his arrest, after posting a $250,000 bond. This decision would prove catastrophic, allowing a confessed killer to walk free while awaiting trial. After his release, Warren relocated to Washington state, where his pattern of violence and intimidation continued unabated. Far from the jurisdiction of Arkansas authorities, he began building a new life, one that would eventually intersect with Meshay Melendez and her innocent daughter Layla. By 2020, Warren was already on the radar of Vancouver police, who investigated him for possessing a stolen semi-automatic handgun. Though officers contacted him and he surrendered the weapon, this incident demonstrated his ongoing interest in firearms despite his pending murder charge. On March 31, 2021, Warren attempted to purchase a 9mm semi-automatic handgun at Safe Fire in Camas, Washington. On the application, he brazenly lied, claiming he was not under indictment for a felony, a direct violation of federal law given his pending murder case in Arkansas. Though his application was denied, this attempt revealed his determination to arm himself despite legal prohibitions. Warren's violence escalated dramatically in December 2022, when his relationship with Meshay Melendez took a terrifying turn. Following an argument at her Minnehaha area apartment on December 13th, Warren left the residence only to return and fire shots into Melendez's balcony window as she looked outside, a clear attempt to terrorize her. 10 days later, on December 23rd, Melendez gathered the courage to call 911, reporting both the shooting and that Warren had assaulted her. This brave act would set in motion a series of events that ultimately led to her death, as Warren's pattern of manipulation and control intensified. By February 2023, investigators had interviewed a friend who was present during the shooting and corroborated Melendez's account. But Warren's manipulative tactics were already at work. On February 17th, Melendez met with investigators and recanted her earlier statement, claiming she had lied about the shooting, and that both she and her friend had mental health and drug issues that explained their earlier statements. She desperately sought assurances that Warren wouldn't be arrested, behavior investigators immediately recognized as suspicious and likely the result of intimidation. Warren's pattern of violence, intimidation, and control followed a textbook progression of domestic abuse. He isolated Melendez, terrorized her with violence, manipulated her into recanting statements to police, and ultimately eliminated her when she could no longer be controlled. What makes this case particularly tragic is that Warren's history of extreme violence was well documented. He had already confessed to one murder, attempted to illegally purchase firearms while under indictment, and demonstrated a pattern of escalating violence against Meshay. Each incident represented a red flag that, if properly addressed by the criminal justice system, might have prevented the deaths of Meshay and her innocent daughter. Instead, a confessed killer was allowed to remain free, cross state lines, and continue his pattern of violence until it culminated in the brutal murders of a mother and her child. Warren's predatory nature was evident long before he met Meshay Melendez, and the system's failure to contain him would have devastating consequences. The final days of Meshay Melendez and her daughter Layla Stewart reveal a harrowing descent into terror that began on March 11, 2023, and ended with their brutal murders. The timeline of events, pieced together through witness statements, phone records, and forensic evidence, paints a disturbing picture of their last hours alive. On March 11th, Meshay, Layla, and Kirkland Warren spent the night at a friend's apartment in the Van Mall neighborhood of Vancouver. This seemingly ordinary sleepover would be the last time anyone besides Warren would see them alive. What happened the next morning would later be described by prosecutors as a calculated act of predatory violence. On the morning of March 12th, a witness at the apartment, who was serving as a babysitter for Layla, observed something deeply disturbing. Meshay was seen passed out and unresponsive in the passenger seat of Warren's burgundy Dodge Charger. Most alarmingly, she was naked from the waist down, a detail that would later take on horrific significance when investigators discovered evidence of sexual assault against 7-year-old Layla. The babysitter watched as Warren brought Layla from inside the apartment and placed her in the car with her unconscious mother. He then drove away with both of them, the last time Meshay and Layla would be seen alive. This witness account would later become crucial evidence, suggesting that Meshay may have been drugged or already harmed before leaving the apartment. For nearly a week, no one reported Meshay and Layla missing. This delay would prove critical in the investigation, as it gave Warren ample time to dispose of evidence. It wasn't until March 18th that Meshay's mother, Nicole Norris, reported them missing after she couldn't reach them for their regular video chat session. Friends had also expressed concern about being unable to contact them for a week. Vancouver police conducted a welfare check at Meshay's Minnehaha area apartment, but they were not there. The search intensified the next day when Norris made a heartbreaking discovery. She found her daughter's car, a Chrysler 200, abandoned in the 7800 block of Northeast Lewitt Loop in the Van Mall neighborhood, not far from where they were last seen with Warren. This discovery prompted Vancouver police to serve a search warrant on Warren's vehicle and residence in the Cavannah Park neighborhood. Warren was arrested on March 19th, initially on charges related to violating the no-contact order and tampering with a witness, not murder, as the bodies had not yet been found. The frantic search for Meshay and Layla continued as family members distributed flyers, organized search parties, and pleaded for information on social media. Meanwhile, Warren appeared in court on March 20th and 21st on the new allegations, with prosecutors requesting he be held without bail or on $1 million bail with GPS monitoring. Judge John Fairgrieve ordered the $1 million bail and electronic monitoring, and Vancouver police officially named Warren a person of interest in the disappearances. The heartbreaking conclusion to the search came on March 22nd when a passerby made a grisly discovery in a rural area east of Washougal. 2 bodies were found down an embankment in thick brush off Southeast Wooding Road near Sunset View Road. The passerby initially thought they had found 2 life-size mannequins, but had actually discovered the bodies of Meshay and Layla. Autopsies revealed the horrific nature of their deaths. Both had been shot in the head with the same gun, Layla suffering 2 gunshot wounds to the head, while Meshay had a single gunshot to her left temple. Even more disturbing, Layla was found naked from the waist down, prompting investigators to collect DNA evidence that would later confirm she had been sexually assaulted by Warren before being murdered. The evidence suggested a calculated sequence of events. Warren likely drugged or incapacitated Meshay, sexually assaulted her 7-year-old daughter, drove them to a remote location, executed them both with gunshots to the head, and disposed of their bodies down an embankment where they might never have been found if not for a chance discovery. On March 31st, the Vancouver Police Department announced that Warren was facing 2 counts of first-degree murder in the deaths of Meshay and Layla. Later, as DNA evidence confirmed the sexual assault of Layla, additional charges of child rape were filed against Warren. The final days of Meshay and Layla's lives represent a descent into unimaginable horror. A mother and child betrayed by a system that failed to protect them, victimized by a predator who had already killed once before, and ultimately murdered and discarded in a remote location where Warren likely believed they would never be found. Their story stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of domestic violence and the critical importance of recognizing and responding to warning signs before it's too late. If you're watching this video and recognize the warning signs of domestic violence in your own relationship or that of someone you know, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233. Don't wait until it's too late. And if you found this story impactful, please subscribe to my channel for more true crime stories that shed light on important issues. Your support helps me continue to tell these stories that need to be heard. What state or country are you watching from? Has your community experienced similar failures in protecting victims of domestic violence?
On Friday, Kirkland Warren, the man charged with abducting and killing a Vancouver mother and daughter, went before a judge in Clark County to face a new allegation: rape of a child.
In this matter, I found there's sufficient evidence to believe you committed this crime.
Meshay Melendez and 7-year-old Layla Stewart went missing mid-March, last seen in a car with Warren. On March 22nd, deputies found the bodies of mother and daughter near Washougal. Investigators say both had been shot in the head. Prosecutors later charged Warren, already in jail at the time, for a parole violation with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Warren pled not guilty on both counts. Then test results of forensic evidence processed by the Washington State Patrol Crime Lab came back this week, leading to the additional charge.
She's definitely broken.
Outside the courthouse, friends and advocates of the family tell KGW they're shocked, saddened, and continuing to fight for justice.
Since hearing the news yesterday, it's been mind-boggling to think what he did to this 7-year-old little girl.
Now, as for the suspect, Kirkland Warren, he remains behind bars awaiting trial, which is set to begin in January. He also has a pending murder charge in Arkansas. Brittany.
The path to justice for Meshay and Layla was neither swift nor straightforward. When first confronted with the evidence, Warren maintained his innocence, pleading not guilty to all charges in April 2023. His defense team initially suggested that Meshay's ex-boyfriend might be responsible, a claim quickly dismantled by investigators who had confirmed the ex's alibi. As the prosecution built their case, Warren's defense began to crumble. Faced with overwhelming forensic evidence, surveillance footage, and witness testimony, Warren finally changed course in January 2024. In a plea agreement that spared him the death penalty, he admitted guilt to second-degree murder for killing Meshay and aggravated first-degree murder for Layla's death. For the sexual assault of Layla, Warren entered what's known as an Alford plea to first-degree child molestation, legally acknowledging that prosecutors had enough evidence to convict him while still maintaining his innocence. This legal maneuver did little to sway public opinion or the judge's assessment of his character. The sentencing hearing on February 15, 2024, was a day of raw emotion and catharsis for the victim's family. Meshay's mother approached the podium clutching photos of her daughter and granddaughter. "You didn't just take their lives," she said, her voice breaking as she addressed Warren directly. "You stole my future, my chance to see my daughter fulfill her dreams, to watch my granddaughter grow up. There is no sentence harsh enough for what you've done." Layla's father described the unbearable pain of explaining to his other children why their sister would never come home again. "My daughter was pure innocence," he said. "She deserved a lifetime of birthdays and Christmases, not to die terrified at the hands of a monster." Judge Robert Lewis didn't mince words when delivering the sentence. "Mr. Warren, the court finds your actions represent the darkest depths of human depravity. You violated every principle of human decency, and you did so while already facing charges for another murder. Society must be permanently protected from you." Warren was sentenced to life imprisonment without the possibility of parole, the maximum penalty available under the plea agreement. As he was led from the courtroom, family members of Meshay and Layla embraced, finding small comfort in knowing Warren would never again walk free.
Get you, you coward. You's a sucker. You's a sucker. You bitch. You's a sucker. You're a sucker. You're a child molester. You are a child molester.
On a warm spring day in April 2023, over 500 people gathered at Vancouver's Esther Short Park to honor the lives of Meshay and Layla. The memorial featured 2 butterfly releases, symbols of transformation and hope, as attendees share memories of the mother and daughter whose lives were cut tragically short. Meshay's childhood friend, Tina Rodriguez, established the Melendez Stewart Foundation, which provides emergency relocation assistance to domestic violence victims in immediate danger. "We couldn't save Meshay and Layla," Rodriguez explained, "but through this work, their legacy helps save others." Layla's elementary school dedicated a reading corner in her memory, filled with books about brave young girls, a tribute to the second grader who loved stories and dreamed of becoming a teacher. Her classmates planted a cherry tree that blooms each spring around her birthday. For Stephanie Melendez, the grief remains overwhelming. "The day I lost them, I lost a part of myself," she shared during a community vigil on the 1-year anniversary of their deaths. "But I keep going because I know Meshay would want me to fight for change, to make sure no other mother experiences this pain." The community's response to this tragedy demonstrates how deeply Meshay and Layla touched those around them. Their story has become a powerful catalyst for change in Clark County, where domestic violence resources have received increased funding and priority. Their lives mattered. Their deaths matter. And the changes inspired by their story may yet save countless others from similar fates. The murders of Meshay and Layla expose critical gaps in our systems designed to protect vulnerable individuals from known violent offenders. Their deaths were preventable, a fact that makes this tragedy all the more devastating. Washington state's implementation of the Tiffany Hill Act in 2020, which allows courts to order GPS monitoring of domestic violence offenders with real-time victim notification, came too late for Meshay and Layla. Had Warren been required to wear such a monitor, Meshay would have been alerted when he approached her home that fateful day in March. The case highlights the dangerous disconnect between states regarding violent offenders. Despite Warren's murder charge in Arkansas, he was able to post bail and relocate to Washington with minimal supervision. This interstate communication failure allowed a dangerous predator to move freely across state lines. What do you think should happen to judges who release dangerous offenders who go on a kill? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth investigations into cases the mainstream media won't cover.